Hey guys, Jeremy here from School of Wok Covent Garden. It's Wok Wednesdays once again, and this week it's a laksa, my own recipe for a traditional curry noodle dish. Are you filming? Okay. Ready? Mm-hmm. So, making a laksa, oh that was loud. Making a laksa is pretty straightforward in a sense, but there's a lot of ingredients, and the main thing is also sort of getting the base paste ready. It's almost like making a sambal. So I've got some Thai shallots here. A little trick to peeling your Thai shallots is to soak it in hot water first before you then cut into them, and that will help you to peel your shallots much easier. So cut the ends off, halve them, and yes, you can do it with onions as well. Everything here is going to go into my sort of base paste, or that sambal style chili paste. So we want it to be nice and roughly chopped up before I get it into the pestle and mortar. Oof. Anyone's ever asked me for tricks, or lots of people have asked me for tricks of working out how to not cry when you're cutting onions or smashing onions, I have not got the answer. A rough chop over these is absolutely fine. And with a laksa, actually, I don't mind if the paste is a sort of rough paste, a coarse paste, as opposed to completely smooth. So I won't go too long on the pestle and mortar. I quite like having sort of caramelized bits of all these shallots and garlic and everything like that. So straight in to there. Then I've got some dry red chilies here. You can use whole red chilies. If you want to make a sort of really traditional laksa, you do need to go generous on the chili. Ideally, you want to soak this for a few hours in hot water. And they really soften up, and you'll get the sweetness of the chili skin in this sort of base chili paste. You can use chili flakes as well, or whole red chilies, absolutely fine. This is going to mix in with all the coconut milk, the vegetable stock, everything like that. So it should mellow out, and especially if you sort of cook it for a good amount of time before you add anything else later on. Chilies in. Then I've got some finely chopped up lemongrass. I've got 2 finely chopped up lemongrass there. I've also got 2 bruised lemongrass sticks here, or stalks, ready to just pop into the soup later on. So you'll get a real base of the flavour, and then additional sort of citrusy lemongrass flavour with those extra lime leaves later. Ginger, a good sort of thumb-sized piece of ginger, and about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. Everything finely chopped. And then we've got some cumin and some coriander powder. 2 teaspoons of each. Teaspoon of turmeric. The only thing I'm going to add to this is a bit of coconut milk once I've started pounding. So I'm just sort of roughly combining all these ingredients. And this combination of flavors really makes up most of the dish. There's something very satisfying about pounding spices. As I say, I'm going for a sort of coarse paste. Nothing too sort of homogeneous, so I'm pretty much there. I'm just going to start to add a few spoons of coconut milk. So I've got about 2 cans of coconut milk here ready for the whole dish. I go for 4 spoons of coconut milk, and that just adds obviously a little creaminess to the paste, but also when it starts to caramelize, it'll sort of take those natural sugars and caramelize really nicely in the bottom of the pan. Whoa. Smells amazing already, and I haven't even started cooking yet. So my paste is ready to fry. So you want to start cooking this off pretty much straight away as soon as you're ready, because for me a laksa, the longer you let that sort of stock interact with the paste, you know, it really takes all the flavour in. So bring your oil to a good heat. Once you're at a sort of medium to high heat, then you start to cook your paste. Go generous on this. I mean, I like my food quite spicy, so I'm going to go for pretty much all of it. But if you wanted to just use half, that's up to you as well. And what you can also do is you can always cook this sort of chili paste. And once it's fully cooked, before you add any more liquid, take as much as you want out and just use it as a dipping sauce or a chili sauce for later on or for other dishes. Make sure there's enough oil in there to really sizzle up. And you want to cook the paste for a minimum of sort of 5-6 minutes. But once it's started on a high heat, bring it down to a lower heat. And just sort of every couple of minutes, give it a good stir. If you feel like it needs a little bit more oil, then just add as you go. So what you really want to do is you're kind of sort of cooking out the moisture from the coconut milk and the spices, and you want to get it to a point where there's a good amount of sticking of this paste on the bottom of your pan, because I want to lift that flavour off the bottom. And the idea is that after sort of 8 to 10 minutes of cooking, you get this quite dry looking, more sort of orangey, maroon red colour in that paste. If you add coconut milk a little bit at first to lift all that flavour off the bottom of the pan, and then scrape the flavour like so. Now I'm keeping this laksa vegan, so there's no shrimp paste, nothing like that in here. And I'm only going to flavour it with some light soy sauce and salt later on, a little bit of brown sugar or palm sugar. So I'm going to try and get all that flavour off the bottom of the pan. This is how to make a proper laksa. Almost like making a curry. So once you've got all the flavour off that caramelisation, then you can add the rest of the coconut milk. So give that a good stir and bring that to a boil. And without even tasting this, you know this is packed full of flavour. Actually, for me, a laksa, like every sort of region of Malaysia and even Singapore, you know, has their own type of laksa. And it's the type of thing that is really good for leftovers. The more leftovers you have, just throw them in and it will taste good. But that base paste makes all the difference. Now what we want to do is we're going to boil this to really start to get as much colour into the coconut milk as possible. And that takes a little bit of time. So you can really see all the spices and the colour of that turmeric It's popping out already. That's boiling now, so I'm going to top that up with vegetable stock. I'm keeping this completely vegan. Bring that to a boil, let it simmer for at least 30 minutes. If not, as long as you want. Just simmer it away, get it to a good point, and then you can carry on cooking. I've also got my soaking water from my shallots, so don't waste any of that. That will add flavour and colour to your laksa. Then I've got my bruised lemongrass. Got some whole lime leaves here. 4 to 6 would do. Lime for later on, we'll squeeze that in last minute. Bring that to a boil, a minimum of 30 minutes. Let it simmer away, or if you want to go for longer, it will just intensify the flavour. So my laksa has been going for a good sort of 45 minutes or so. It's time to season it up. So some light soy sauce, keeping this nice and vegan. I think for that amount, sort of 2 to 3 tablespoons. Give it a good mix around. Have a little taste of that. Could do with a pinch of salt maybe as well. Getting there, I think I need a little bit more light soy. And then just to accentuate the coconut milk, a couple of teaspoons of brown sugar. Bring that to a boil, make sure it melts through nicely. Now, you could use sort of things like your chili flakes to garnish just as is. Or if you want to sort of fry your chili flakes in a bit of oil slowly, then use that to top your laksa to finish. It makes a really nice sort of red sheen of slight droplets of oil over your bowl of laksa. Whatever vegetables you want, I've got some carrots, some baby corn and some tender stem broccoli here. That's going to go into your soup. Cook that through for about 3 minutes, something like that, keeping your veg nice and crunchy, and then we can pretty much warm up our noodles and serve up. My noodles, I've got some rice vermicelli here. Again, you can use all different types of noodles for this type of dish. These have been soaked in hot water for about 2 to 3 minutes and then drained. They'll only really need about 30 seconds to a minute to boil through before we serve up. So your vermicelli can go straight into that, along with some bean sprouts. Bean sprouts don't take long to cook up at all, so 30 seconds on a rolling boil, and then I'm going to dish up. So now you can see why I kept the paste a little bit coarse, because then you get little bits of chili sort of and paste just intertwined into the noodles there. Pick out some of the greens, try and get some of those carrots in there as well. Obviously the big stalks of lemongrass you want to leave in the actual stock if you can help it. And then really load this soup up. Top it with some of that fried chili flake. And then, as I say, those nice bit of chili oil. And laksa ready to go. Time to tuck in. Get some of that soup. It's so light and fresh. You get that last punch of seasoning. And if you wanted to, a little squeeze of lime doesn't hurt. Let's try it again. That freshens it up. Don't miss the meat. Love laksa. So many different recipes for laksa. If you like the look of this and you want to learn more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.